pushed all the buttons. We're ready to get started with our weight class today. For this class, you will need whatever variety of weights you have. I'm going to use some heavy weights, some medium weights, and some light weights. So if you have a range, go ahead and have them handy. If you don't have a range, you can do everything with the weights that you have, or even with body weight. Now, we're going to do seated and standing variations for every exercise. There are a couple that seated exercise will change the focus. So play with it a little bit, try different things. All right, we are ready to get started. And if you are joining us on YouTube, make sure you hit like and subscribe and ring that little bell so that you get notified whenever we put up a new video. All right, to warm up, we're going to start. Feet about hip width apart, just gently swinging your arms, bringing some motion through your back, through your torso, through your shoulders. Making sure everything's feeling okay this morning. If it is, go ahead and pick your heels up, turn a little bit further, let those arms swing out a little bit more. Beautiful. 2 more. And then bring everything back in and move into those nice big arm circles. Perfect. And then go the other way. And then throw those arms in and out across your chest, alternating which arm is on top. Very nice. All right, from here, we're going to move into our elbows. Nice big circles. Just loosening everything up, making sure everything's working good this morning. And go the other way. And then down into your wrists. And go the other way. Squeeze those fingers in and out. Loosen your hands up a little bit. Maybe wiggle the fingers just a little as well. Beautiful. Now, from here, moving down into our lower body. If you're standing, you're going to do some nice big hip circles in one direction. If you're seated, you're just going to start swishing those knees side to side. If you're standing, go the other way. Beautiful. And then from here, moving down into your knees. If you're seated, you're going to try to just pick your feet up and swing them like a little kid on the swing set. And if you're standing, start with bopping them back and forth, and then move into circles in one direction if everything feels good. And then the other direction. Now, if your knees don't like those circles, stick with just the forward and back. Again, we're just trying to bring a little movement into the joints, warm everything up, get the fluids moving around in there. Beautiful. And then finishing off with your ankles. So pick one foot up and twirl that foot around. And then go the other way. And then put that one down and move to the other side. And go the other way. Beautiful. Put that foot down too. And then from here, we're going to get started with our workout. So the first thing we're going to do is a back squat. Now, if you're doing this with dumbbells, it's a little different. You may have done it with barbells in the past, but with dumbbells, you're going to swing them up and load them on the back side of your shoulders. You can hover above or you can let them rest, up to you. Your elbows are going to flare out a little bit. That's okay. You can try and pull them in if you want to, but it really doesn't matter. The important thing is keeping the weight on the back side of your body. Bring your feet out just a little bit, and then you're just going to do a squat. Now, if you're doing the seated version, you can do it with the weights or without, and just do a sit to stand with your knees in a little bit closer. Pick which variation is right for you. We have 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. If your wrists don't like this position or your elbows don't like this position, you can turn the dumbbells sideways. A lot of people find the twist is a little harder on their hands. So again, the important thing is the weight being on the back side of your shoulders. Helps you shift your weight back as you squat and really puts the focus on the back body. Over halfway there. You got it, nice and steady. Almost done. Time. Beautiful. Go ahead and set those weights down. Shake those arms out a little bit. And then you're probably going to want to move to your lighter weights for this one. We're going to do an alternating overhead lat raise, which is just a fancy way of saying around the world. So your arms, you're going to bring one side up and then the other. Make it a nice big circle. If you're doing the seated version, you're just going to sit up nice and tall, keep your belly squeezed in tight, and focus on those arms. If you're doing the standing version and you want to add a little lower body action, as you go up on one side, add a little hamstring curl. So you're just shifting side to side, curling your foot up towards your butt. All right, 1 minute. Here we go. Make sure you have room behind you if you are using a chair for some of the exercises, so you're not kicking the chair. No toe injuries here. Beautiful. Keep a soft bend in the elbows. Focus on the shoulders on this one. And really squeezing that heel up towards your backside. Nice and steady. You got it. Still keeping your belly nice and firm. Imagine you're squeezing your ribs towards each other into the center. Almost there. You got this. And time. Nice. Set those weights to the side. Give everything a little shake. And then up next, we're going to do a row plus a fly, single arm. So you're going to grab medium to light weights, depending on how you feel on flies. For the seated version, scooting to the edge of your chair, leaning forward, row it up, fly it out. For the standing version, same thing, but you're going to come down a little bit more, get a nice 45, nice flat back, row it up, fly it out. Choose the one that's right for you. We've got 1 minute. Here we go. This one is really good for your back. Both of these exercises work the back muscles. So putting them together really gives you overall a great workout. Check in with your breathing here. Make sure it's nice and steady. If you feel like you're a little out of breath, you might need to slow it down or go down in weight. "15 seconds to go. You got this. Almost there. And time. Beautiful. Set that weight down for a second. Shake that arm out. And then we're going to switch sides. All right, going to the other side. Same thing. If you're standing, make sure you have that nice flat back. If you're seated, you're not going to lean forward quite as far, but it'll give you a little more support in your low back if that's important for you. All right, 1 minute. Here we go. Row it up, fly it out. Keeping a little bend in the elbow. Keeping your head, neck, and back in a straight line. Making sure you can still breathe nice and smoothly. You're halfway there. You can keep as much of a bend in your knees here as you need to. If your hamstrings are tight, go ahead and bend those knees even more. No worries there. This one is all about your back. So do whatever you need to with your legs to be comfortable. Almost done. And time. Beautiful. All right, set that weight to the side. Shake it out. And then up next, we're going to do a bicep curl with a knee raise. Now, this is one of the ones where doing it seated versus standing changes the focus. So if you're doing the standing version, you're going to get to one side of your chair or grab a wall, whatever, if you need a little balance support. And you're just going to focus on lifting that knee up as you do your bicep curl. If you're doing the seated version, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to turn it more into a crunch. So it's really going to change the focus from the hip flexor to the core. So choose your own adventure here. We're going to do 30 seconds on each side, and I'll tell you when to switch. All right, here we go. Keep breathing slow and steady. If you're doing that seated one, really squeeze in those abs. If you're doing the standing version, lift that knee as high as you can to work that hip flexor. Switching sides in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and switch. Beautiful, keep it going. You got this. Ten more seconds, you can do it. Almost there, and time. Beautiful. Go ahead and set that weight down. Shake those arms out. If you were doing the seated version, maybe do a nice little counter stretch there. If you're doing the standing version, same thing actually. Still stretching everything out. And then grab that weight one more time. Again, the medium one is probably good for this. This one's a tricep extension. So it depends on how you feel about your triceps. For the seated version, you're going to bring your bottom to the edge of the chair, holding the weight up behind you. Add in a calf raise, and then lower that weight down. So as the weight goes up, your heels go up. Same thing for the standing version. Weight goes up, heels go up. Nice and steady. You're over halfway there. Keep those elbows pulled in tight by your head so you can really focus on the triceps here. Beautiful, you got this, guys. Almost there. 5 seconds to go. Time. Excellent. All right, that is one set done. Shake those arms out. Go grab some water. We have 2 sets to go. All right, guys, grab that water. And then let's get right back to it. So before we start the second set, check in. Were any exercises too easy? Do you need to up the weight? Were any exercises too hard? Do you need to lower the weight? Make any adjustments you need to. Maybe try the seated version or the standing version, depending on what you did before. We are back up to that back squat. So grab your weights. We have 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Remember, adjust your wrists for what's going to work for you. Let your elbows go where they need to. Just keep that weight resting on the back side of your shoulders or hovering, depending on how you want to work. If you hover, it's going to add a lot of extra work for your triceps. Remember, you can always do this exercise as a sit to stand, and you can do it just as a body weight exercise too. It's up to you. Make it work for you. Almost there. Check in with your breathing. Make sure it's nice and smooth and steady. You got this. And time. Beautiful. Set those weights down. Shake those arms out. And up next, we're back to the alternating around the worlds or overhead lat raise, if you want to get technical. Grab the weight that's right for you. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Squeezing the heel up towards the bottom. Or if you're doing the seated version, focus just on the arms and keeping the belly nice and tight. Beautiful. You got this. Really squeeze your heel towards your bottom too. Keeping the whole body engaged here. Almost there. Time. Beautiful. Set those weights down. Shake everything out. And up next, we have the row plus the fly. All right, make sure your space is clear. Choose the variation that works for you. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Row it up. Fly it out. Keep breathing. The more you focus on squeezing your shoulder blade in towards your spine, the more work you're going to get through those back muscles. So really try to pull that shoulder blade in with both the row and the fly. 20 seconds to go. You can do it. Five seconds. And Time. Nice. Shake that arm out. Take just 1 second. And then switch sides. So we're going to do the right side now. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. You may see me turning my head. That's because I have you guys on a bigger screen so I can see how you're doing. You want to keep your head, neck, and back in a straight line. Make sure you're protecting your joints. Halfway done. You got this. Slow and steady. You can go faster if you like, but it's not necessary. Slow and steady really does win the race with strength building. 5 seconds to go. Time. Nice. Shake that arm out as well. And then up next, we have that bicep curl and knee raise. Again, choose which way is going to work best for you, whether you want to do standing balance work or seated core work. I'll tell you when to switch. Here we go. Whether you're doing seated or standing, if you keep that foot up, don't let your weight rest on the floor in between knee raises, you're going to get a little extra work in. 10 seconds to go on this side. Switching in 3, 2, 1, switch sides. Beautiful. Ten seconds to go. You got it. And time. Nice. Go ahead and set that weight down. Shake everything out. And then get ready for the tricep extension with the calf raise. Medium, light, or even heavy weight, depending on where you are in your journey. And you can have your feet hip width apart, or you can bring them in narrow. Again, if you want to add a little balance work on that calf raise. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Weight goes up, heels go up. Nice. Elbows in tight. Sucking the belly in, making it nice and firm. You're over halfway there. Beautiful. You got this. 10 seconds to go. Time. All right, shake everything out and go grab some water. You guys are doing fantastic. Okay, bring it back in. We are on our last set. So once again, check in. Do you need to make any adjustments? Change your weights, change how you're doing the exercise, change your grip. Whatever you need to do to make it right for you. Get ready for that back squat. We have 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Ooh, pause just a second. Now here we go. You got it. Nice and steady. Keeping the weight back in your heels. Really shifting the focus onto your back body for this one. Depending on the weight you're using, you may not feel the difference, but you engage your back muscles much more with a back squat than you do with, say, a traditional squat or a goblet squat, which focuses more on like the quads. With a heavier weight, you can definitely feel the difference as your back muscles engage. So if you're still using heavy weights and you feel like it's easy, or light weights, go to heavier. All right, time. Set those down. Shake everything out. And then get ready for that alternating lat raise. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Nice and steady. Soft bend in the elbows. Keeping the belly tight. You got this. You're over halfway there. If you get to a point where your shoulders are like, nope, I have had enough, try setting the weights down and just finish it out empty hand for the last few seconds. You still get the same movement with just a little less work for fatigued muscles. Beautiful. Time. Shake everything out and get ready for that row plus fly. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Row it up, fly it out. Now you can always adjust your weight in the middle of any exercise, whether that means saying, I really can't handle a little higher weight. I'm going to go back up. Or, nope, I'm setting everything down and just finishing it out empty hand. No worries. You're more than halfway there. You got 20 seconds to go. Check in with your breathing. If your breath is ragged or you feel like you couldn't say a sentence, dial it down a little bit. Time. Shake that arm out and then switch your hands to the other side. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Now we've talked about if you're not breathing smoothly, but if you're breathing really easy and you feel like you're not doing any work, again, maybe it's time to up the weight just a little bit, or really focus on going in slow motion if you don't have other weights, and squeezing those muscles in really tight to increase your workload. Almost there. You got 15 seconds to go. And time. Beautiful. Set that weight down. Shake everything out. And then we have that bicep curl with the knee raise, seated or standing. Grab your weight. 30 seconds on each side. Here we go. Remember, if you're doing the seated version, you're focusing on that crunch. If you're doing the standing version, focusing on that hip flexor work and a little balance and strength in the standing leg. 10 seconds on this side. Switching in 3, 2, 1, switch sides. You got this, guys. Last round, almost there. 10 seconds to go on this one. And time. Nice. All right, shake everything out. Give yourself a nice little counter stretch. And then get ready for that tricep extension. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Still focusing on good form. Keeping the elbows in, keeping the belly tight. Weight goes up, heels go up. You're halfway there. This is your last exercise. You can do it. Beautiful. You're doing amazing. 10 seconds to go. And time. Excellent. Set those weights to the side. Shake those arms out. Grab some water, and then we're going to do our final stretch. All right, guys, bring it in. For our final stretch, we're going to start with our feet hip width apart. Take a nice deep breath. Bring your arms up overhead. And then just go ahead and fold forward. Pause for just a second here. And then roll up nice and slow. Shrug those shoulders up all the way to your ears and roll them down and back. Breathe your arms up overhead again. And this time, do a nice little side bend. Come back to center. Go to the other side. Back to center, and then only if it feels good, maybe just a little small back bend. From here, folding all the way forward again to whatever height is good for you. And then one more time, nice big bend in your knees, roll it all the way up. Shrug the shoulders up, and then down and back. From here, bring your arm up behind you. You can stop right here if you feel a good stretch already, or you can add a little pull towards the back of the room. You can even, if you have a lot of range of motion here, reach up behind you and grab the other hand so that you get a good shoulder and tricep stretch at the same time. One more moment here. And then release and go to the other side. So again, check in. If this is good, stop here. If you want a little more, maybe try pulling that elbow back. And if you want even more, reach the other hand up behind to really stretch out the shoulder and the tricep. And release. From here, bring one arm across the chest. And then keeping your head straight ahead this time, we're just going to tip the neck so that your ear comes down towards that shoulder that's stretching. Just sink into this for a moment. Then come back to center and go the other way. Beautiful. Back to center and release. And then bring the other arm across your chest. Same thing. Pause here for just a moment. And then if it feels good, tip that ear towards one shoulder. And then coming back to center and then to the other side. Small movements here, don't crank into it. Just work your neck a tiny bit. Coming back to center and release. And then from here, we're going to step 1 foot forward. If you're seated, you're going to step out to the side so that you have a little more movement here. And then you're going to push that back hip forward so you can stretch through the hip flexor. This is especially important if you did that standing knee raise where you were contracting it. You want to stretch it out. One more moment here. And then switch sides. Push that hip forward again, just until you feel that nice stretch through the front of the hip. And release, come back to center. Finish off with any stretches that feel good for you. You guys are all done. Fantastic job today. I will see you next week.